Hi guys, thank you so much for coming along today. It is always a pleasure to have you guys on my channel. I'm so excited because you're here. If this is your first time of visiting me, thank you for visiting my channel. And I will highly encourage you to please click that subscribe button down there and click that notification bell so that anytime I release new content, you'll be the first person to get that. And if you're a returning subscriber, and thank you so much, you guys are amazing sharing these and commenting and liking. By all means, please do comment, like, share it so that others will continue to get benefit from this too, and we can continue to build this community of practice. Okay, thank you so much. Before we get started, I keep saying that if you are already a practicing Scrum Master, you've had so many years of experience, and you're still looking for an Agile COP, community of practice, or a coach or mentor, please reach out. Let's collaborate. And if you are transitioning, all right, you are transitioning, you're doing your training, you've done your certification, you are still in that job market, you've done so many things, and you're not sure yet what to do, all you need to do is to reach out. Let's connect. You can reach me on, you can see those links up there on my email address or Instagram or Facebook, whatever that works for you. Please reach out and let's connect. I'm more than happy to talk to you. Okay, don't feel shy. I don't know it all, I have to tell you, so I'm hoping that I can share with you what I know, and then you can also share with me what you know. Isn't that wonderful? All right, good. Now let's jump in right away to what we have today. How do you, as a Scrum Master, measure or know the health, the performance of your Scrum team? What key metrics have you used to measure the health and performance of your team? How do you know if your team members or your team is going to be able to achieve the sprint goal? How do you know that doing what you are doing right now, that you guys are going to meet your releases, are going to meet up with your release goals or your release schedule? How do you know, doing what you're doing now, that you guys can be able to stay on track in terms of the budget? How do you know that what your developers are telling you that they have done is actually what they have done? Now, if you are in that situation, stay tight and let me share with you key performance indicators to use as a Scrum Master to know whether your team is on track, whether your team is on green, or whether they are on red. If that is the case, let's jump right in. So as always, I'm going to pull up my board, as you can see right there. Um, let me try to make it as bold as I can. Okay, so key metrics, how to evaluate and assess to know whether your team is on track or not. Okay, that's basically what we want to talk about today. Now, I understand that there are lots of KPIs. In fact, if you go to internet and type key metrics in Scrum, I'm assuming that you're going to see a lot of them. Even if you go to the Jira, for those that are not aware of what Jira is a product of Atlassian. It's mostly what every Scrum Master use. Is either you're using Jira or you're using Azure DevOps. But in this case, let's say Jira, okay? So if you go to Jira and then you click on the reports, and then you can be able to see all of the different metrics on how you can identify what your team is doing right and what they are not doing right. Be that as it may, now we're going to focus mostly on these 4 KPIs. We have the velocity, we have the burn down charts. Also, we also have another one called burnout charts. We have the cumulative flow diagram, CFD, and we have product backlog item H. I so much love that because most people know about the product backlog item H. Most Scrum Masters not even know what it is. But if you are aware, that's a plus. But if you're not, sit tight and let me walk you through what I mean by that. Again, what I'm hoping to do tonight, or hoping to do share with you, is basically what I have learned, and not just what I have experimented with, but also what I have researched about. So my knowledge sharing today is basically based on learning and based on experience. Velocity. Now, I do hear a lot of people say, hopefully we can be able to get this done. Hopefully. Have you ever heard about that? In Scrum, I do believe that there is nothing like miracle. It has to be realistic, reasonable enough. Okay? Nothing like hope. Now, what I used to do if I'm new to a Scrum team is during the learning period, I go to the Jira board to study what has been the existing practice. And using those information, those historical data would let you work with the PO, with the tech lead, with the project director to get the team on track if they are off track. Now, velocity is simply the total amount of work team members can take in a sprint. Imagine that you have already started your sprint, and then the executive member or a stakeholder comes in and say, "Hey, Scrum Master, please, can you guys get this done into the sprint?" Obviously, you already know that you are getting your team members overwhelmed. Would you say no? Now, this is out of the scope of today's content. We'll leave it another time for we'll leave that for another time for another conversation. Now, velocity, you already know that. For example, let me make an analogy. You have your car, and it is four-seater car. In other words, four passengers are going to be on the car: the driver, the passenger on in the front seat, and you have two persons at the back, making it four. And now every car, I do believe, has what is called a load balance, or load, the amount of weight it could carry. And when you try to overweight that car, it would take longer time to get at its destination, and it's going to consume more gas because you are loading more information than required. Now, the same thing applies in Scrum. Before the start of a sprint, or when the team members are doing their sprint planning. Now, one of the key things that the Scrum Master will keep in mind is velocity and capacity. Capacity is the availability of resource in terms of team members, in terms of holidays, all of the holidays and vacations. Then velocity is the total number of efforts. How in the previous sprints, how many story points? And what I mean by story point is basically a measurement of effort. Okay, it is an abstract way of measuring effort. If the team members usually achieve 20 story points, now the Scrum Master will know that, okay, 20 could be the average velocity. Now, anything above 20, now it should be questionable. Now, as a Scrum Master, you already know what your team members will be able to achieve each sprint. Now, after 3 sprints, you should be able to, get the average velocity, so that moving forward, when you are doing your sprint planning based on the story pointing that you guys are doing in your estimation time, then you will be able to know whether you guys are getting above your velocity or you are within the range of your velocity. And the velocity comes in by estimating the product backlog items, the user stories. Okay, before you can get a user story into a sprint, your team members should be able to quantify, give you an estimate of amount of effort they are going to use in order to get those to the done column. All right, nothing like hopefully we'll get this done. You're gonna mess your sprint up. Your stakeholders are gonna get mad at you, and your team members are not even going to feel comfortable because you're not even getting them into the right direction. Okay? Now, I'm looking forward to how you have been able to capture this. What have you done differently in terms of using your velocity to make sure your team members are meeting up with their sprint goal? And remember, these KPIs are mostly on the team level, not on the executive level, because that's what's going to help the stakeholders in order to make their decision on executive level. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, the second one, which is also very common, is the burn down chart. If you take a look at what I'm sharing with you here, gives you an idea of what a burn down chart looks like. Okay. And I'm going to ask you, in your own opinion, do you think that this graph or this burn down chart burns well? Now, it's left for you to answer. I'm going to give you my own opinion. But generally, the burn down chart is just a graphical way of representing information. Okay. And what does it represent? It represents the amount of work remaining over time within a sprint. The amount of work remaining over the duration of the sprint. Okay, if the team has agreed to work on a 2-week sprint now, and they have also gotten their story points to about 30. Now, the burn down chart will start calculating from the day of the sprint till the last day of the sprint. So what you're basically seeing on the screen is the burn down, or the graph kind of burning down. Now, if you could see, there was some sort of linear line, and at some point it started burning down. So what does that tell us? It two things actually, but the most important one is either that this team, the developers, we are not moving their tickets as they were working on those days, or um, another way could be because they were not really working actually. Now, what I used to do is doing my daily scrum, which you also call the daily stand up, after the developers have had a conversation to inspect and adapt to the sprint goal. Remember, the daily scrum is not a reporting meeting. Most people make it a reporting meeting. Anyways, this is outside of the scope of today's conversations. So at the end of that, towards the end of that daily scrum, I would do flash my screen just to give my dev team what has been the progress. Now, if let's just say Philip has given an update that he worked on XYZ yesterday, the burn down chart should be able to capture that. Now, again, another thing people used to do, I mean, you could also keep that in mind, is the way that you structure the swim lanes of your Jira board. So however you structure your swim lane, the burn down chart will capture those. And you should also, as a team, identify what you call definition of done. How can you say a story is done? Is it when it's still in the UAT, or is it when it goes into production? Now, that is left for the team to decide. However the team structures the Jira board, that is the way that the burn down chart will capture that. So this, what you're seeing on the screen right now, is a good way for the burn down chart to burn, but it's not the ideal, because you could see before the chart started burning, there was some sort of silence. Now, those days, what did the Scrum Master do? How was the Scrum Master able to help the team to understand that something was really wrong? Okay. Now, this burn down chart, one of the use of burn down chart is to help the team to stay on track for what they have committed to do. Remember, during the sprint planning, these guys are going to say, okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. And then they are going to reassure themselves. Remember, you're not assigning this to them. They have already given you that abstract information. And that is what basically you're going to share with the stakeholders, so that it's going to help them for the decision making. Nobody wants to spend their money and then without having a value at the end of every sprint. It's very annoying. Keep that in mind. Anyway, the burn down chart is going to help them, to give you guys, the dev team, to always know whether they are still on track in order to get this sprint done as of when they are supposed to. Now, the cumulative flow chart is another of those key metrics that I love so much. What it's about. Now, most people don't know about the cumulative flow chart. It is one of the key metrics to use when you want to identify bottlenecks, like impediments, blockers. Okay. The burn down chart doesn't capture necessarily, realistically, bottlenecks, constraints, impediments, call it whatever you may. Okay. But the cumulative flow charts will help you to capture that. If you don't know how to use the cumulative flow charts, please do ask your Jira administrator. And I do believe that every organization do have a Jira administrator. If you don't know, ask, and you shall be given. Okay? Okay. All right. So these are all video representation of what happens. Now, you are not a developer as a Scrum Master. These key metrics are what you're going to use to identify what you're going to use to work with. It helps you to capture historical data. Now, what Scrum Masters do is to tell people, don't command people. Now, what I used to do is, someone once said that insanity is doing the same thing and expecting the different results, right? So if for example, that's what is it called? That's my team is doing a particular thing and then they're not sure in what way they are doing it wrong. All I need to do is to study what they have done, and then I can make a proposal or recommendation. And believe me, when you take that approach, they're going to follow your lead. All right. All right. That's where we're going to start for today. What else have you done? And the final thing as a bonus on the KPI is what we call the product backlog item age. Now, what product owners do, if you're a product owner, come closer. Let me talk to you. And then as a Scrum Master, it is also one of the prerogatives to collaborate with your product owner. But if you're not a product owner, you're a Scrum Master, listen attentively. Go to your Jira board, go to your product backlog, take a look at all of those issue types that we are created, be it epic, be it features, user stories, task, box. Look at the date that they were created. Try to find out how long have they been in the product backlog and ask why. This will help you guys to identify what user stories that are still valid, relevant, valuable, and what should be kicked out. Okay? All right. I know you have a lot of questions or you have a lot of thoughts, concern. Now I want to hear what those are. What you're going to do for me is just let me know what you feel in the comment section. And if you like this, please click that like button and help me to share and comment so that others will continue to benefit from all of this. You guys are amazing. Isn't that great? Thank you so much for spending these few minutes with me. Please, if you're not subscribed yet, click that subscribe button down there. Click the notification bell so that anytime I release new content, you'll be the first person to receive it. I do appreciate you coming along. I'm looking forward to see you again next time. In the meantime, I hope you stay well. Bye for now.